Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. One of the big questions that comes up for especially alcoholics when they stop drinking is, what do I tell people when they offer me a drink or when they ask me why I'm not drinking? And it's going to happen if you are in situations where people are drinking, or you're around people who don't know what you've been going through and are used to seeing you drink. It will be likely jarring to them, and they'll ask you what's going on. So I want to start by reading a section from This Naked Mind by Annie Grace, and then I'll talk a little bit about the way I respond in these situations. She says, Craig Beck explains these reactions. Oh, let me start a little earlier. She says, our society not only encourages drinking, it takes issue with people who don't drink. I don't 100% agree with that claim, but let's just keep reading. Our society not only encourages drinking, it takes issue with people who don't drink. Since I stopped drinking, I've been shocked by the invasive questions I received. You wouldn't ask someone who turned down a glass of milk, are you pregnant? Are you lactose intolerant? Or did you struggle with milk? So I will stop there, and I will say that I was surprised by I've actually seen the opposite of this. Society and the people that I've been around actually don't seem to take much issue with me not drinking. Some people who are close to me were relieved when they found out I stopped drinking. People who I just used to hang out with and drink a lot with and party with, they actually didn't care, because I'm not preaching to them that they should quit, and in a lot of cases I don't think they need to. So I actually found out that society in general doesn't give a shit whether I drink or not. Pardon my French, but they just don't. It was kind of egotistical of me to think that I was such a center of attention that me stopping drinking would be a huge deal. It's really not. And most people don't care about it. Anybody who does care a lot about it and asks a lot of questions, I have found might be thinking that they have a problem themselves, and so I try to be really patient when talking with them and just explain to them honestly about my own problems, how I came to a life of sobriety, in hopes that maybe it helps them reach the right conclusion for their own lives. So just wanted to say that, she kind of paints a picture of society as being shocked when people don't drink. And I have not found that to be the case. I was worried that it would be, but I have not found that to be the case. So, anyway, she goes on to say, Craig Beck explains these reactions in his book, Alcohol Lied to Me, The Intelligent Way to Stop Drinking. He says that all humans are motivated by just two component factors, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. That is a key reason why your friends, no matter how much they care about you, don't want you to stop drinking. I have friends who are very happy that I stopped drinking. When you stop drinking, they are forced to confront the fact that deep down they too know alcohol is bad for them. Beck explains, when you stop drinking, you appear to raise your standards above those of the people around you. As you raise your own standards, you automatically highlight their low standards, and this causes psychological pain to everyone around you. So that statement strikes me as extremely egotistical and prideful. And I have never thought of I have thought of my recovery and sobriety as raising my own standards, but I've never thought of them as raising them above people around me. That's a very egotistical way to look at things. Now, what I will say is that the spiritual life that I've chosen as part of my recovery, I do think that it's very valuable, and I do see some people who don't engage in that same kind of spirituality and spiritual exploration of life, and I feel like their lives could be improved by doing so. But I don't feel like I'm better than they are. I don't feel like my standards are higher than theirs. And so I say all this to say that when someone approaches me and asks me why I don't drink, I'm very honest and forthcoming with them. And I say either I just say I choose not to, if it's not a situation where I want to get into a big explanation, or I say I'm a recovering alcoholic. And you can choose whatever term you want. I have a substance use disorder, and I'm choosing sobriety, whatever terms you want to use. But I am very forthcoming to say I don't drink. I'm not interested in drinking, and I don't mince words about it. It's been 5 years that I've not been, almost 5 years that I've been sober from alcohol. And I've never had anyone try to force a drink on me, or try to get me to drink when I didn't want to, or badger me about it. And I've been in a lot of situations where people are drinking. And that doesn't mean that won't happen to you. But I want to say that to help allay some fears that I was certainly fearful that would be the case, that there were certain people I would be around who would not leave me alone about it, and who would maybe even make fun of me about it. I've not found that to be the case. Most of the people that I know and who knew me during my drinking days knew I had a problem, and they didn't bring it up, not because, like Craig Beck says in the quote in this book, they didn't bring it up because they didn't want to confront their own problems. They didn't bring it up because, in general, we are fearful of confronting our friends about problems we see, because we're afraid that might alienate us from them. And that's why, as people in recovery, we depend on each other to point out issues we see, so because we know that the outside world is more hesitant to do that. So that's the simple answer for me, is that when people come up to me and ask, why aren't you drinking? What's going on? I just tell them I'm a recovering alcoholic. And if they have a lot of questions about it, like I said earlier, I have a good feeling that that's someone that might be questioning their own drinking. And I just tell them what they want to, I just answer what questions they have, honestly. And I give them my number to talk to me more if they want to. But what I've found is that by and large, most people that I've met, they're not that concerned with how much I'm drinking. They're more concerned with, can they keep drinking however much they want to drink? And as long as I'm not standing there and judging them, then usually it doesn't even come up. I've been in so many situations where I've been the only person not drinking and nobody's even said anything about it. So don't worry too much about those kinds of situations. And when they come up, just be honest, because there's nothing wrong with not drinking, especially if it's because you recognize you have a problem with it. And by being honest, you might open up a door to help someone else who's desperately in need of finding someone they can relate to, because they've got a problem they want some help with. That's it for today. I'll be back here tomorrow with more. Have a good one.